Hey guys, it's WT here from the Coin Alley, and in this video we'll be discussing how to improve your credit score. 2 videos ago I introduced you to FICO score. We talked about the factors that went into determining your FICO score, and this video will tell you how to improve that score. Now, we did learn that the FICO score is a 3-digit number lenders use to help them decide how likely it is that you'll repay them on time if they granted you credit. Now, the higher your score, the more likely you are to qualify for loans and credit cards at the most favorable terms, which will then save you money in the long run. We'll talk about how to improve your credit coming right up. Let's get to it. And we're back. Welcome to the Coin Alley. I am your host, WT. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate you subscribing. If you do find the video to be useful, go ahead and consider hitting the thumbs up button. If you do subscribe, please also click on the notification bell. That way, whenever a new video is uploaded, you'll be one of the first to be notified. So guys, in this video, we'll talk about FICO, or credit scoring, and some tips on how to improve your credit score. Now, in our video that I covered a few days ago, we talked about FICO credit scoring, and we discussed the 5 different factors that drove those credit scores. We talked about the credit scoring model, and we talked about this pie here, and each segment of the pie and how that affects your credit score. We discuss payment history being 35% of the pie, followed by amounts owed, 30%, new credit, 10%, length of credit history, 15%, and then credit mix at 10%. So when it comes to improving your credit score, let's talk about utilization. So utilization is going to be one of those factors that you definitely want to consider in on the road to improving your credit. So utilization, the sweet spot for utilization, and you'll hear different things from different people, but they say that under 30% is the best part, or the sweet spot. So 30% or less is what is recognized when it comes to credit utilization. Now, credit utilization is your credit limit versus how much you've used of that limit. So as I mentioned, under 30% of your credit limit available, 10% is even better. So let's say you had a $10,000 limit. Now, you wouldn't want to spend or have anything over $3,000 if you were going by the 30% rule. Now, you can also try to get a credit limit increase, which will also help create a distance between the amount owed versus your credit limit. Now, if you do go the route of getting a credit limit increase, you want to make sure that the credit limit increase does not require a hard inquiry, because having hard inquiries on your credit report can reduce your overall score. So it's important that you watch your utilization, especially if you have cards with very low credit limits. Now, you'll either have to make multiple payments throughout the month if you have a card with a very low limit, and this is a card that you decide that you would like to use more. So in order to ensure that you don't exceed 30% of your utilization, then you'll have to make more payments. So let's say we have 2 customers. One customer has a $300 limit credit card, and that customer spent $200 on their credit card. So that would be a 66% utilization versus another customer that has a $1,000 limit on their card. They've spent $400 on that card, which is a 40% utilization. Now, the latter, the second customer, the one with the $1,000 limit, although they have spent more on their card versus the person that have spent $200, because of the second example, they have a higher limit, they would actually be looked at more favorably than the first customer. So it's very important that you maintain satisfactory utilization, which will in turn boost your overall credit score. Now, derogatory information in your credit report will not help you any. So it's very important that you review your credit report to ensure that everything is on the up and up. You want to make sure that your credit report has accurate information. If there's information in your credit report that is not correct, you want to make sure that you are disputing with the credit bureaus. Okay? So derogatory information includes late payments, default accounts, or collection items that might be in your credit report. Now, the next thing you want to consider when it comes to improving your credit score is the amount of inquiries that is on your report. Now, an inquiry is how many times you apply for a credit card. Now, when we talk about credit inquiry, you're probably applying for new credit. So when you apply for a credit card or a loan, the creditor places an inquiry into your report. This inquiry is available to other people to look at, and these inquiries are on your report for up to 24 months, which is 2 years. So when you apply for credit, you want to make sure that you are very strategic in what you apply for. You don't want to be the person that's constantly applying for credit, because that will hurt you in the long run. There are examples of individuals with very high credit score who are being declined or being denied additional credit, even with a high credit score. And the reason why they're being denied is because of the number of inquiries that are on their credit report. Now, when you have inquiries on your credit report, the creditor is wondering, why you are seeking additional credit. It could be a red flag for them. So that's one of the reasons why this could cause you to not get approved for a credit card. You're also getting an inquiry, which basically you're getting an inquiry for nothing in return. So you have an inquiry, you're not being approved for a new card, and you're getting a mark on your credit report, which also declines your credit score. So definitely be very strategic in what you apply for, and only apply for accounts that you think would be of benefit to you. So definitely be very careful when it comes to applying for new credit. So we've talked about utilization. We've talked about derogatory marks. Let's discuss payment history. So payment history is one of the other, if not the most important factor when it comes to your credit history and improving your credit score. So remember, payment history is 35% of the pie when it comes to FICO scoring. So make sure everything is paid on time. Now, we are all human, and we oftentimes forget to do things. So people oftentimes will forget to pay their credit cards on time for whatever reason. Now, late payments are visible for up to 7 years on your credit report. We learned that after 4 years, it no longer has a major weight on how it affects your credit score, but it is still visible. Consider enrolling in auto pay or repeat payments if your credit card company offers this feature. Now you can go online and possibly call up the customer service and get information on how to enroll in auto payments. Now there are different strategies when it comes to auto payments. Some individuals will at least set up their minimum monthly payment. So at least if they did forget to make a payment, the minimum payment would at least will actually get taken care of, so they wouldn't be considered late. Now when you're late, you do have late fees, which on the average starts around $35 and up. Also, if you're late beyond 30 days, that also gets marked on your credit report, which also would result in a decline in your overall score. Now let's talk about length of history, which is 15%. Now, the length of history is how long you've had an account open or how long that account has been on your credit report. Now, if you are without a credit history, you would possibly want to consider building your credit through several different means. One of the most popular ways of building your credit is through what is called a secured card. And a secured card is basically you depositing money into like a savings account with the bank, and this money secures your credit line. So for example, now depending on the bank, if you deposit $500, in turn, you'll receive a $500 credit limit, or $1,000, for example, and you'll receive a $1,000 credit limit. Now, another option, instead of applying for a secured card, would be to be considered being added to someone's account as an authorized user. So, by becoming an authorized user on a trusted family member or a friend's account, and I say trusted because you want to make sure that if you're going to be added to someone's account, this person handles credit responsibly, because their behavior on their account will reflect on your credit report. So let's say you didn't choose this person wisely and they had a high utilization, then that account with the high utilization would be reported on your credit report. Now, you are trying to build credit, so this would not be of any benefit to you. So it's very important that when you do select, or when you do have someone add you as an authorized user on their account, that you find out a few important things about the account. Now, as I mentioned, you want to make sure that this person does handle credit responsibly, but also you want to make sure that this card reports to all 3 credit bureaus. So you want to find out from the individual who owns the account, is this account visible on all 3 of the credit bureaus? Also, you want to get a card that reports the entire history of the account. And what I mean by this is that there are some financial institutions, such as American Express, that does not report the entire history of the account. So what American Express does, when you get added as an authorized user on an American Express account, when that account gets reported to the credit bureau, the account is reported as of the day that you were added. So let's say you were added this month to someone's American Express account. When that account shows up on your credit report, it'll only reflect history for this month going forward. Now, as of the time of this recording, which is September of 2019, the following financial institutions will actually report the entire history. So Bank of America, Capital One, Wells Fargo, Discover Card. These are examples of banks or financial institutions that report the entire history. And what that means is that they're not just reporting when you were added to the account, they're reporting history from when the account was actually opened. So if you're being added to your mom's account or a friend's account and they've had the account for, let's say, 5 years, if it's with one of these institutions that I just mentioned, you will be able to receive the benefit of the 5-year history. So as you can see, when being added as an authorized user, you do have to do some homework in order to make sure that you are, 1, getting the right card with the right bank. So you want to find a bank that reports the entire history. You also want to find a bank that will also report to all 3 credit bureaus. So definitely make sure that you do your due diligence in ensuring that all these requirements are met so that you do get what is expected. All right, guys. So in closing, I just want to recap to ensure that you have the best possible credit score. You want to make sure that your utilization is low, 30% or better. Check your credit reports regularly to ensure that there are no derogatory marks. You want to ensure that your payment history is stellar. You want to make sure you pay on time. I recommend automatic payments if possible. Also, you want to make sure that you keep your your inquiries low. So that's applying for new credit. Now, guys, if you follow those steps, you should be able to increase your credit score in a matter of no time. Now, of course, this will not happen overnight. It generally takes anywhere from 90 days to 6 months at least to start seeing marked improvements in your credit report. Now, each person's credit report is different, so your mileage may vary. So when it comes to, putting your pulse on your credit, it does take a while to build credit, and also it does take a while to see these improvements. Now, of course, unfortunately, it takes less time to affect your credit negatively than to do so positively. So definitely, guys, you got to be patient when it comes to building credit. And, once you get to how things work, what drives these numbers, then you'll be able to be successful and get the scores that you need. Guys, I hope you find this information to be very useful. If you do, you want to keep the discussion going, please consider leaving a comment below. How are you improving your credit? What exactly are you doing to boost your credit score? Leave your comments down below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to respond back to you guys. All right, guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. Thank you so much for spending your time and sharing your information. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so very much. Once again, take care of yourself, and as always, take care of each other.